Thank you everyone for coming here. I'm here to give you a brief introduction of Swamini ji. Swamini ji, Paraprajnananda ji. I have the honor of calling her my elder sister. She's been visiting Dallas for the last week, and just to give you a brief background, Swamini ji has been into the life of religion and philosophy for the last 35 years. By academic, she has done her master's, MA in English literature, and then she taught as an English professor in several colleges in Ahmedbabad, India for almost 20 years. But all along, she had been into religion and philosophy, earlier with Chinmaya Mission, and now she is the disciple of Guru Vidya ji, and she is based out of ashram in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Her Guruji's Guruji is Swami Dayanand Saraswati, who helped give Swamini ji her Diksha when she became sannyasi. So she's been a sannyasi for the last 8-9 years, and you will probably really get a lot out of her. She's very much into religion and philosophy for Vedas, Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita. So over to Swamini ji.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyaptatehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Kratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitaamrutavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandadhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedaistangapatakramopaniಷದೈಃ Gayantiyam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yoginaha Yasyantam Navidussurasuraganah Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Vasudeva Sutan Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. So, the subject for our discussion today is the Bhagavad Gita, relevance of the ancient teachings for the modern living. This is the topic. Let me tell you at the outset that Bhagavad Gita, the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, is the most relevant for our life. You all know, it is very well said in Vivek Chudamani, one of the texts by Shankaracharya Sri Bhagavad Pad, Jantu Nam Narajanma Durlabham. Of all the lives, human birth is considered to be rare. If we want to make this life successful in the true sense of the word, then the teaching of Bhagavad Gita is indispensable. Our life cannot be successful in the real sense of the word without this teaching. Because Bhagavad Gita has a universal appeal. Regardless of the man, regardless of the fact that a human being may be belonging to past or present or let us say future, regardless of that, the teachings of Bhagavad Gita is applicable for all times, places and conditions. Let us see how. For this, we will have to take a look into the background of Bhagavad Gita and see how it was relevant to Arjuna. Are you all getting me clearly at the back? Am I audible everywhere? This side also? Okay. Let us have a look at the background of Bhagavad Gita. At the advent of the Gita, we see Arjuna, we see that his life has come to stand still in the midst of the battlefield. And having got this teaching from Lord Krishna, in the end, he says, in the beginning we find Arjuna crying. We will see that. And in the end, in his own words, Nashto mohaha smrutir labdha tvat prasadan mayachyuta. He says, all my delusion, all my ignorance is gone forever. And I will do as you say. This shows that the teaching was relevant. It transformed Arjuna totally. Now let us see how. In the beginning, when Arjuna entered the battlefield, he was all enthused to fight. He was all enthused to take, to take vengeance upon Kauravas, because the kingdom rightfully belonged to them. And all the efforts were made to avoid war. But when nothing worked, in the end, war was about to happen. Both the armies are properly arrayed in the Kurukshetra, in the battlefield. And Arjuna also is there. And see, the mood in which Arjuna was at that time. He orders his charioteer, who was really his friend, but now he is his Sarathi. Sarathi means driver. Bhagwan has agreed to become his Sarathi. And Arjuna orders him, as it were. He says, Senayoho ubayoho madhye ratham sthapaya mechyuta. O Achyuta, please, O Krishna, Achyuta is Lord Krishna. He says, O Krishna, please place my chariot in the middle of the two armies. And as ordered, as asked by Arjuna, Lord Krishna very obediently places the chariot in the middle of the army. Arjuna wanted to design, he wanted to plan out the strategy. And as he was asked by Arjuna, Lord Krishna places the chariot. It is at this point, Acharyas think, that Lord Krishna deliberately placed the chariot in the place at the point where Arjuna could clearly see Bhishma Pitamaha and Dronacharya. Bhishma Drona Pramukhataha, right in the front of Bhishma and Dronacharya. And then he says, in the first chapter, Lord Krishna utters just one word. He says, Uvacha Partha Pashyaitan Samavetan Kurunite. He says, O Partha, please see, Pashya, please see the Kurus who are gathered here. The Kurus. He used Lord Krishna, this is very deliberate on the part of Lord Krishna. He uses the word Kurus. This word he could have said, watch the warriors, see the enemies which are there on the other side. You can see them properly. But deliberately perhaps Lord Krishna uses the word Kurus, and this word triggered something from Arjuna. Now, instead of seeing the enemies, Arjuna sees Kurus. Kurus are his brothers. Kurus is his family. Imagine coming in the battlefield, he was to see the warriors. He had to fight. And instead of that, at this point, this word perhaps changed the whole scenario. And instead of seeing the warriors, Arjuna is now seeing his near and dear ones. And in a moment, he suddenly changed. All his motivation to fight suddenly is gone. And he begins to cry. His hair stands on the end. He begins to tremble. His Gandiva falls from his hand and he is overwhelmed by total grief. There is total sorrow on Arjuna's face, and he confesses before Lord Krishna. He says, why should we fight this war for? Na kangshe vijayam Krishna, na cha rajyam sukhani cha. He says, I am no more interested in this war. I am no more interested in this kingdom. I just don't want to fight. I don't want all this. What is all this for? You mean to say, you did not think of this earlier? Before coming to the battlefield, did you not think of this, that this is the war between the enemy, between the brothers? Do you think Arjuna did not know this? No, he knew it very well. But this happened. This happened, and now he just doesn't want to fight. He's totally confused. On one side is his duty as a warrior, as a Kshatriya. It is his duty to protect Dharma. And it was the fight between Dharma and Adharma. Kauravas stood for Adharma and Pandavas stood for Dharma. So, in reality, there should absolutely be no confusion in Arjuna's mind as to what he should do. But on one side is his Pitamaha, grandsire, and his brothers and his teachers. In short, he is struggling. There is a conflict in his mind between his duty and his attachment. But at this moment, something else also happened. And that is very important. See, relate this to our life also. There are moments in our life when we are also confused as to what should we do. Should we do this? This is also my call. And this is what my heart is saying. There is something to be done. And what is to be done is something I don't want to do. This happens very often. This happened to Arjuna also. But today, in this state of mind, in this utter depression, for the first time, Arjuna realized that there is something more deeper, there is something else, there is a fundamental problem right in the core of his heart. The grief that he is undergoing is not superfluous. He realized that there is something much deeper, and he has so far not paid attention to this. And it is because of this, perhaps, that today he cannot make his decision. And he says to Lord Krishna, Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyat yat chokamuchoshanam indriyanam. He says, O Lord Krishna, I do not see how this grief, this sorrow, which is burning my body apart, which is burning my senses and tearing my body apart, I don't see how this is going to go away. Even if I get the entire kingdom, not only this kingdom of the earth, but even if I get the kingdom of the heavens, and that too unrivaled kingdom, and still I do not see how this grief is going to go. He realized no amount of material achievements can bring an end to this grief, which he realized was always there. But so far, he had never paid attention to this. He kept himself busy throughout his life. He kept fulfilling his desires, one after the other. But desires were fulfilled, one after the other. But desire itself never went away. It kept him occupied. And in spite of this, there was no fulfillment at the core. There is no happiness. There is no satisfaction. This is what he realized now. He says, see, this happens sometimes in life. He says that, oh Krishna, I realize that I do not know something. This situation, this topical problem of war triggered something. It forced him to think seriously for the first time in life. Serious thinking began now. At this critical moment, this situation forced him to think as to what is the meaning of life. What have I done so far? What have I achieved? He was a man of achievement. He was a very, very accomplished person. There was nobody like Arjuna in his time. Everybody dreaded him. And still this Arjuna, what I am trying to say is, in spite of all the material achievements, the core remains empty if you have not paid attention to that. All kinds of things, name, fame, power, relationship, everything, no matter what you get. But those things do not have the capacity to bring about the satisfaction, because they do not have that which your heart is seeking. All those things are finite. And the multiplication of finite or addition of finite can never be infinite. You all are educated. Addition of finite, multiplication of finite too cannot result into infinite. And infinite is something which we are seeking. Each and every human being is seeking infinite. He is seeking limitlessness. He is seeking total adequacy, total limitlessness. And that is not the capacity of the world. That is not the capacity of the material things to give you. It is like extracting oil from sand. No matter how you try, it is never going to give you that. You remember this because here we are in this temple. I remember a story from Ramayana, where after Lord Rama and Lord Rama is coronated, he is on the throne of Ayodhya. Then both Hanumanji has also come with Rama, and he is also there in Ayodhya. Then one day, Sita and Rama are taking walk, and suddenly Sita ji was very pleased. All along she was pleased, but today there is something more. She remembered the old days when Hanumanji came and helped her in the Ashoka Vana, where she was captured. And suddenly what happened? She took out her pearl necklace and gave it to Hanumanji. Hanumanji being what he was, nothing but Rama is his focus, is his life. He took out each and every pearl from the necklace and is putting in his mouth and cracking it and is opening it. There was suddenly then a crack, that noise came. So Sitaji looked behind. He said, "What are you doing, Anjaneya? What are you doing this? This is a beautiful necklace, so precious, and you are breaking it open, each and every pearl. What are you doing?" Hanumanji quietly replied. He said, "I am looking for my Rama in this each and every pearl, and I do not find it. So mother, what will I do with it? So after looking, and when I don't find it, I throw away each and every pearl." But this is what Buddhiman, Hanumanji knew. He could see that. What I am trying to say is this. This is what Arjuna realized for the first time in his life, that I have not achieved anything. My life has gone waste. Imagine. And this is what added to his grief, added to the grief which was already going through. And he says to Krishna, he knew that Lord Krishna had the key to the problem which he was going through. He was the master of the situation. Nothing seems to bother him. And for the first time, they were always bosom friends. Lord Krishna and Arjuna were bosom friends. They shared everything. But it had never occurred so far to Arjuna to ask this kind of a question to Lord Krishna as to what is the meaning of life. What is the solution for this grief which I am going? It had never occurred. You understand? It had never occurred. It occurred in the midst of this battlefield. At this critical moment, it has to come from us. Even if the teacher, even if the Mahatmas are right there before you, unless and until we analyze our experiences, we analyze our life as to what are we getting. One by one experiences are passing. One by one we are fulfilling our desires. But what is the end result? For momentarily we do feel good. But very soon other desire occurs. Okay, that keeps us occupied and satisfied temporarily. Another comes. We keep on doing it. We never seem to probe into it as to what is this? Why this desire doesn't seem to go? One by one desires are, but the desire is intact. Is there no end to it? Life is passing by. Each and every moment is just fleeting. And where am I? This happened to Arjuna. And he surrendered before Lord Krishna. And he says, Yat Shreyasya Nishchitam Tanme Bruhi. He says, that which is definite in life, that which is lasting, that which is eternal, please tell me that. He is not saying, please, what will happen of this war? Tell me the outcome. Nothing. He forgot everything. He forgot where he was standing. Just imagine the situation. And he is asking of Bhagavan that please tell me, that please teach me. Shishyas teham shadimam tvam prapannam. I am your student. Please teach me. I surrender unto you. And the roles now change. The warrior that Arjuna was has now become the student. And the charioteer which Lord Krishna was, is now the teacher. The scenario changes. And just see, Lord Krishna also is not telling him, wait a moment, Arjuna, please fight. Finish this war. please fight. Then we will talk about this later on in the evening. He could have very well said, finish this first. In the midst of the battlefield, we need not talk about it. You finish this work, fight it out, and then we will talk about it. No. Lord Krishna also never for a moment suggested that we'll talk about it later. He knew this is the right time. Strike when the iron is hot, when the readiness is there, when the vairagya has occurred, when he wants to know about it, there is no better moment. This is the right time, and the answer has to be given. And perhaps Lord Krishna was waiting for this moment to occur. He was waiting for this. One of the reasons in the 4th chapter he says clearly, the reason for his incarnation was Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapana. Sadhus are I have come to protect the sadhus, to destroy the evil. Both this will be done. And the main work is dharma samstap, and this to establish dharma, to establish the teaching, to give them the manual of life, to show them the guideline as to how this life is to be lived. This moment has come. And that is why Lord Krishna also, without wasting a moment, he began with a bang. He just began. This is what Lord Krishna is, He was a revolutionary. Earlier, this teaching was given, Upanishads that gurus used to give this teaching in forest, in caves, in a divine and quiet atmosphere. Lord Krishna brought that knowledge of the caves, of the mountains, of the rivers, of the forest, which it used to be right in the midst of the battlefield. Battlefield means life. Our life is also that. Arjuna had to fight. We have our daily life to confront. We also have problems to solve. There are topical problems, situational problems, but all of them, sometimes we get confused, we get stuck. As long as we can solve them, fine. But remember, the fundamental problem is somewhere else. It is from there that all of this is arising. Say for instance, today I have a stomach ache, I take some medicine. Tomorrow I have some nausea, I say take another medicine. Third day I have some other problem, I take another symptom. This way I keep on giving symptomatic treatment to myself. But is it going to solve the problem? Then one day the doctor tells me, all the diagnosis, everything, and the checkups and everything is done. And they find out the problem was something else, much deeper. There is some other more important problem in the stomach, some ulcer or something. It is that thing which is giving rise to all this other. Similarly, in life, we have topical problems. They are different with different people. But all of them rise from some other thing. Fundamental problem is not knowing the reality. Not knowing what is the truth of life. What is my truth? What is the truth of the individual? What is the truth of this creation? What is it that is sustaining this entire thing? What is it that is infinite? What is it that is eternal? Where is the real happiness? Where is real peace? Where is it? And this is the thing which we should know. Having known this, you are master of each and every situation, just as Lord Krishna was. His whole life was full of trials, full of tribulations. It was not a simple life. But at each and every moment, throughout his life, he was always master of the situation. We do not see a sorrowful Krishna. He was always sthita prajna. So what I am trying to say is, without this knowledge, we will get stuck up in life. Life will not be successful. And this is what Arjuna must have also thought, that he can do without this. Sometimes, we think, what is the need for this knowledge now? We are too young. We still have to enjoy life. Why this we will do after retirement, when we have nothing else to do? Then we will do this. No. It is not for the old age. It is for life. It teaches you the art of living. Can we postpone happiness? Can we postpone the pleased self? Each and every moment we are seeking happiness, not knowing that I don't have to seek it. It is my very nature. It is my very self. This we do not know. And that is why Lord Krishna, without postponing this, right at that time began with the knowledge. He says, Ashocyan anvashochastvam prajnavadamshcha bhashase. He says, oh Arjuna, there is absolutely no reason for grief. You are grieving over those which does not warrant grief. There is no reason in life to be sorrowful. Sorrow is illegitimate. How come? How come people are going to die? Nobody is going to be spared in this war. And Krishna and Bhagavan, you are saying there is no reason to grieve for? Yes. Just imagine, even if a phenomenon like death, according to Lord Krishna, doesn't warrant grief, even if death cannot be the cause of sorrow, then just imagine, small things of life can never be the reason of, and this is the highest thing that Lord Krishna is. Even death cannot be the cause of grief. Why? Precisely because there is no death. Oh Arjuna, you don't know something. You are talking big. You are giving lecture to me about why this war should not be fought for. But you don't know anything. You don't know the reality. He says, Arjuna, you think you will be dying. You think that Bhishma Pitamaha, Dronacharya, all your near and dear ones, all of them who are there in the battlefield will not remain. This is the first notion that you are entertaining. Because, why? Self. You are not Arjuna. Bhishma Pitamaha is not Bhishma Pitamaha. Dronacharya ji is not Dronacharya ji. That whom you call Bhishma Pitamaha is in reality self. Self means Atma. And what is the nature of Atma? See, we are all born ignorant of the true nature of the self. There is one thing for which we have not had to work for, is ignorance. We are born with ignorance. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of the true nature of the reality. True nature of the self, which means nature of myself. Who am I? That we don't know. And what happens is, when you don't, the ignorance is twofold. Not only do I not know who am I, but I take that which is not I as I. These two things are happening. You follow? Not only do I not know that I am self, Atma, that I do not know, but there is another false notion or misconception which has occurred due to this ignorance. What? That this body, the mind, this personality, which is not Atma, which is not I, is taken to be I by me. You follow? Not only do we understand two things. Ignorance has two powers. In the technical language, it is called avarana and vikshepa. Not only do we not know I as it is, but in the absence or in the lack of that knowledge, we take this body, mind, intellect, complex as I. So you follow? That which is not Atma is taken as Atma. and I don't know what the Atma or the self is. Then what happens? We have mixed these two things. Self is here. No, even if I don't know, self is very much over here. It is all pervasive. And not consciousness is the nature of the self. Self or Atma is of the nature of existence, it is of the nature of consciousness, and it is of the nature of happiness. This is what Atma is. You follow? It is full, it is one, it is of the nature of happiness, absolute happiness, and it is conscious. And the non-self or the body, which is called anatma or non-self, is inert. It is inert, it is insentient, and it is finite, it is limited by time, it is limited by place, and it has limitations in attributes. It has one capacity and not the other capacity. It can walk, but it cannot fly. It can be here, it cannot be there simultaneously. These are all the limitations of the non-self. It is inert. But what have we done? We take this to be I, and we superimpose the attributes, the qualities of the body, of the mind, of the intellect, which is anatma, upon the I, which is Atma. This is difficult, but it is the fact. We superimpose the qualities of Anatma upon Atma. Now, as I said, what is the quality of Anatma? It is bound by time. So it is born in time, and it is going to come to an end in time. So, and in between the birth and death, there are many changes. In between birth and death, there are countless changes, which this body is subject to, each and everything. Why body? But body, why we are concerned so much with this? Because we take body to be I. Yes, definitely. Body is born in a time. Before a certain time, I was not there. And after a certain time, this body will not be. You follow? This body has come into existence at a time, and it will not remain after a certain time. And in between also, it goes through many changes. There was childhood, begin with infancy, then childhood, then youth, then old age, and then death. These are all the things, changes, and again after that, another birth. Unless you come to know the truth, there is no end to this cycle of birth and death. You follow? But if I do not know that I am not subject to birth and death, I, the capital I, the Atma, has no birth, what will I do? I will take the birth of this body to be my birth. I am a child. I am an adolescent. I am young. All up to this point is fine. But then this is uphill. And then we go down the hill. And then happens, I am old. Now this gives lots of problems. I cannot walk. I cannot talk. I cannot sit. Having sat, we cannot get up. So all kinds of that is fine. That is the nature of anatma. But the problem is that which belongs to the body is attributed to the I. And then we join. And I is I. Body is body. But what do I say? I am old. Old is the body. But what do I say? I am old. I is okay. Old age is also okay. But we join. We identify with this. And then a new thing, I am old. And this gives pain. This creates anxieties. This creates complexes. And then I am afraid. We are bound to be afraid. Nobody likes death. Nobody likes change. It is not easy to accept a change beyond a certain point. It creates lots of insecurities. You realize why the worries are, why the stress is. Moment something happens and doctor says something, oh, half of the life is gone. At that very moment. Why? Because I will not remain. Oh Arjuna, this is I is not subject. Ajo nityah shashvatah ayam puranah. I is unborn. It is eternal. It doesn't come to existence. It doesn't die. Body definitely comes. But I am not that. Once you know this, let whatever happens to body according to prarabdha is fine. One false notion which we all suffer from. And here the teaching, and as I said, through the shoulders of Arjuna, Bhagavan is talking to humanity, not only to Arjuna. Arjuna is merely instrumental, but through him, he is talking to humanity. Everybody needs to know this, needs to know his real identity. This is another problem of Arjuna was, see all these notions we also have. Arjuna says, I don't want to fight. Why? Because I will be the one who will be killing my grandfather, my teacher. How can I do this? There was again another notion, I will be the killer and somebody will be killed, which means I am the subject of doing something. I am the agent of doing something. And somebody will be killed. Somebody will be the subject of my killing. This, for instance, this hand is doing something to this hand. So this hand became the killer. And this palm became the object of this killing. So this is also what I became the killer. So when you entertain the notions that I am doing something or something is happening to me, this also means karta and bhokta. Then I'm thinking that I am a karta. Karta means I am a doer. Bhokta means something is happening to me, and this also creates notions. This also creates problems. Arjuna thought, I will be doing this. I will have to pay for it. Bhagavan said, Hantasche, those who think that ya evam veti hantaram, yaschainam manyate hatam. He says, Lord Krishna says, one who thinks himself to be the killer and the other one to be killed, ubhau tau na vijanita, both of them do not know. One who thinks that I am the killer or a doer, he also doesn't know. And one who thinks I am killed, I am the victim of what others are doing to me, he also doesn't know. Na ubhau tau na vijanita, both of them do not know. Why? Because Atma doesn't kill, Atma doesn't get killed. Killed is just a representative of everything, Atma doesn't do, and nothing happens to Atma. Not knowing this, Arjuna is afraid. What will, so far when he had fought many battles, but so far never this question occurred. It never bothered to him as to how he will be killing, because they were not his people. But today, when his people are there before him, these questions arise. Oh, what will happen to me? We also entertain the notions, because of this notions of doing something and something happening to me, we have the notions of guilt. We feel guilty sometimes, and we feel hurt also. Guilt when supposing we happen to say something to someone, then we feel guilty. Oh, this happened. I happened to say this. I should not have done that. On the flip side is, something happens to me. Supposing you said some words to me, and what do I feel? I am insulted. He humiliated me. He should not. So I am hurt. These are also the notions. Atma is not doing, nor is anything happening to Atma. Lord Krishna clearly and in unequivocal words he says, Nainan chindanti shastrani, Nainan dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapah, which means even weapons cannot kill Atma, water cannot wet Atma, wind cannot dry Atma, fire cannot burn Atma. What to talk of small things? Even these great elements cannot touch. Why? Because the self is subtle, self is formless, self is attributeless, self is all pervasive. And it is because of the self that these other things are. And there is only one self. But Arjuna says, but Bhagavan, Arjuna did not ask, but looking at his expressions, Bhagavan felt that yes, he seems to be having problem. Because he thought that people are dying in front of us. How can you say that not? He says, well, death means merely changing of the costume. Just as he gives very good analogy. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grunnati. He says just as when we give up old clothes, when they are tattered, and we take up new ones, give up old, jirnani vasamsi yatha vihaya. We give up the old one and take new ones. Tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani navani grunnati. He says similarly, Atma, as long as this knowledge is not arisen, gives up old body when the time comes, and and having given up that, there will be another new body, which is similar to giving up old apparels and taking a new one. You may ask me, Swaminiji, we enjoy giving up old clothes and wearing new ones. We enjoy that. We look forward to giving up, dumping the old ones and taking up the new ones. Not same with the body. It is not a joy to give up this body. Even if it is totally infirm, we want to hold on to it. Because of this ignorance, we think that I am this body. With the end of this body, my existence will come to end. No. In fact, I have seen Mahatmas. They say this is over. It is not when somebody is too, he says, let them go. Let them go. What if now this body is useless? Nothing can be accomplished by it. They chant mantras so that it becomes easy to give up this, so that his journey will continue with the new one. This is the perception of those who know. That is why Bhagavan says that those who know, you are not a Pandita, Arjun. You talk like a Pandita, you talk like a wise man, but you are not a wise man because you are grieving. Wise are the ones who do not grieve. Grieve for whom? Those who are living, those who are dead. Neither for the ones who are living nor for the ones who are dead do they grieve. Which means they are heartless people. You mean to say Mahatmas are heartless? They have no heart? They do not care? Far from that. They are the ones who really care. They are the ones who really know. There is no false emotionalism there. But that is besides the point. But what I am trying to say, how important this knowledge is for our life. Otherwise we cling on. We cling to this body or this, however great it may be. But it is going to come to an end. Not only my body, but others. And when they go naturally, we are nowhere. Our life comes to an end. We are totally shattered. But can we stop it? Can we do anything about it? We should know this. We should We should be ready to face the facts of life. What is the fact of this body? It has come, it will go. And what is the fact of Atma? It is not born, it is never born. It always is, and it will never go. What is going is, when the body dies, what is going is the body, not Atma. Not Atma, it is all pervasive. It has nowhere to go. Why? Why it has nowhere to go? Because it is everywhere. Supposing I say, I entered the hall, but can I say the space entered the hall? Can I say that? Why? Because space is already everywhere. There is no entry or exit or coming or going or moving also for the space. Space is the closest example. That is why I am giving you. Atma is much more subtle than that. It is even subtler and pervasive even than space. So this is the reality of the self which we need to know. Our strength will come from that. Lack of knowledge, lack of this fundamental knowledge, it's not going to help us. Sooner or later it will catch up. This ignorance will catch up with us. Just as it caught Arjuna. Not only Arjuna, if we look in the past, in Chandogya Upanishad, one of the foremost of the Upanishads, there we see Narada in the 7th chapter. Narada is the student. Narada comes looking for a teacher. He goes to Sanat Kumara, who were considered to be wise men. And Narada, he was a man of letters. He was well versed. He was a scholar of 64 branches of knowledge, not one or two. We may know one or two. He had 64 branches, arts and this and that. I don't even remember the names. He was well versed and proficient in all those branches. And still, he discerned his problem. He said, he felt that I'm grieving. Grief means you don't keep a long face and sit. Not necessarily. We feel a vacuum inside. We get bored. We have complexes. We have kama. We have krodha. We have jealousy. We have superiority complex. We feel like competing and aggressiveness. And all this is nothing but offshoots of grief. All these are nothing but the army of ignorance. Naradji realized this. And he goes to Sanat Kumara and he says, Soham Bhagavan Shochami. He says, Oh Bhagavan, oh revered sir, such as I am. He presents his case. He says, such as I am means I am a well accomplished person. And still I am Shochami, means I am grieving. This grief means, as I mentioned, everything. I am grieving, sir. Sanat Kumara said, just mention to me what all you know. Give me the list of all you know. And then he gave a long list. Sanat Kumarji said, this is all in words. This is merely name. You don't know what you ought to know. What do I not know, sir? He says, you don't know Bhuman. Their Atma is described as Bhuman. Bhuman means that which is boundless. That which is all happiness, which is Atma. Synonym for Atma. And had you known that, Tarati Shokam Atmavit. This Naradji says, yes, you are right, sir. I have also heard that those who know Atma, the underlying truth of this entire cosmos, and this is just not one cosmos. I just read, this is a very well known fact. Universe is expanding. Our people knew it right then. There are countless and countless and countless galaxies and whatnot. This Brahmanda is mind-blowing. But all of this, the reality, the truth, the fundamental reality of all this is Atma, the self, or Brahman, or Bhuman, or Aksharam, as it is differently called in the Shastra. Unless you know this, you cannot cross this samsara. Samsara means not that I have wife, I have children and I am working. No, that is not samsara. What is samsara? Samsara is ignorance. Ignorance of the nature, ignorance of the truth, ignorance of the self, ignorance of the reality is samsara. Because unless you know that you are constantly doing this or that, everything with the agenda so that something will work for me. We are constantly trying to make things work for us, constantly seeking. And Bhagavan said, that which you are seeking is right there. Tattvam Asi. Bhagavad Gita is nothing but elaboration of Tattvam Asi. Tattvam Asi is the Mahavakya, the great sentence, the great equation which occurs in Chandogya Upanishad, which means that thou art. That means what? That which you are constantly seeking from lives together. Not one life. From lives together, you are seeking in each and every birth. It may be not necessarily human being. It need not be a human birth in every life. Don't kid yourself to think that. You may be in any other yoni, but in each and every life, the jiva is seeking. He is on a quest. What quest? For the pleased self. He is begging for happiness. Please give me. And he looks to objects, looks to the myriad of things. Give me. The seeking, he's a beggar. Beggar of happiness. Please pat me. Give me love. Give me, make me big. Give me this, that. Upanishad says, the seeker himself is the sought. That which you are seeking is right here. There is absolutely no distance between the seeker and the sought. And this distance is, what is separating me from the sought? Only ignorance. It is like the story of the 10th man. You know that? There were 10 boys in the school and one day they all went for a picnic. And the teacher told them that one of them is appointed as a leader or a monitor, and the teacher is telling them, when you come back, all 10 should be there. And monitor, it is your responsibility to count and see that all 10 are safe. Okay, they went, they enjoyed the whole day, and when they are coming back, the monitor is saying, all of you line up, I'm going to count whether all 10 are there or not. And he made all the children stand in a line. All of them are standing in a line. And he is in front of them. And he began to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And oh my God, how many are there? Only 9. Where is the 10th man? Where is the 10th boy rather? He is lost. And all of them are so worried. We lost the 10th boy. This is the story, huh? And then they began to look for him in the forest and river and everywhere in the garden, wherever they went, they cannot find. They're all perplexed and confounded, my God. And then an old man happened to pass by. He said, my children, why are you crying? What are you looking for? The monitor said, sir, we have lost the 10th man. The old man was wise. He looked at them and he understood what the problem was. He said, I'll help you find out. Please, all of you again stand in the line. And the old man began counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that monitor is also made to stand there. And then that old man, Tvam Dashamosi, you are the 10th. You are the 10th man. You forgot to count yourself. You were looking for the 10th one outside. But who was the 10th one? He himself. Similarly, this is a story. This is a simple thing. But in life, we have committed this mistake. We look for happiness and contentment and everything elsewhere. But it is all the while hidden right here. Right in the core it is there. And we miss this place. It is so ironic that we are looking for ourselves. in the world. We search that happiness in the world, whereas all the while it is right here. I carry that with myself, with me. But it requires a teacher to point this out to you. Okay, this is unfolded to Arjuna, but it is not that easy. It's not that easy to know this, because suddenly he was stunned. Arjuna is stunned to know this reality. But it cannot settle in one day or in one lecture. It cannot settle. He heard it right, but it won't settle. He cannot own up and abide in this truth in just one lecture or one teaching. So Lord Krishna says, it is nice to know, but you also need a frame of mind to grasp and retain this knowledge. It is not enough that you just hear about this, but a frame of mind, a preparedness, a way of life. A right mind is required to be able to understand this and then to abide and be this. And for that, Lord Krishna suggests Karma Yoga. You see, then he realized that for this, a way of life, and a way of life now comes Karma Yoga. So Bhagavad Gita has both the knowledge also, what is the truth, that also, the perception, that is also given. At the same time, how to make that perception a reality for us, that is also showed by Bhagavad Gita. Then Lord Krishna says, "O Arjuna, for this you need to lead a life of Karma Yoga." What is Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga this is understood. What I said so far is understood, but this has to be lived in life. The right way of living, our lifestyle, our life should be in harmony with this truth. You follow? The truth we just came to know, that the truth about the self, that truth cannot be attained, or we cannot make it a reality for us unless and until we have a certain mind. Because today our enemy is our own mind. So far we did not know. So we have gathered and entertained all kinds of false values, false notions. And that is why this mind only has become a problem. My own mind is my enemy today. So now a life has to be lived which is in alignment with the truth. I have come to know that I am everything. I am full. But I need to practice that. How to practice in your life? Karmani evate adhikaraha. You perform the action which is assigned to you. Everybody is given a certain role in life. Each and every individual performs many roles, and there is a script to every role. As a father, I am supposed to do this. As a son, a person may be father also to his children, and he is himself a son before his father. What I am trying to say, there so many roles are played by a person. We must to be able to play the role well, we must know what that role is asking for. In each and every situation, we have a certain response is called from us. We have to respond in a right way. When can we do that? When we have nothing else to gain. There is no personal agenda. Sometimes, we are not ready to do what we should be doing. I know what I'm supposed to do as a wife. I know what Arjuna's case only see. He was supposed to fight, not because he wanted kingdom, but to protect dharma. It is the duty of the Kshatriya. Kshatriya was meant for that. He had the capacity of a leader. He was a Kshatriya, and it was his duty to protect dharma. It is for this reason that he had to subdue adharma and those who stood for adharma. But when it came to fight, with his people, there is a conflict. He doesn't want to fight. He knows it is his duty, but he wants to give in to his attachment. He wants to give in. He wants to take the side of what his heart is saying and not what his duty is asking him to do. Lord Krishna says, no, remain true to your duty. Why? Because you have now nothing to gain. You know that you are Atma, you are full. Now, so far you thought that you were a small ego. You are just an individual, and that is why your perception and your values were all self-centered, I and mine. Our life is circumscribed or confined to I and at the most mine. But now, stretch your ego. Now realize that you are not an isolated being. You are a member of this universe. And Arjuna, you better know that this universe functions on the principle of offering. There is yajna. Lord Krishna beautifully shows this. We should all know, Lord Krishna says there is a principle of offering, yajna, going on in the creation, in nature. Each and every element of nature, each and everything in the nature is constantly offering. A whole cosmic wheel of offering is going on. Sun does its duty. My Guru, Swami Dayanandaji, he used to say, all the Gurus, they used to say that sun never takes a leave. It never gets, oh no, I'm so tired. Today is my casual leave. Today is my sick leave. No. At the right time he comes, at the right time he goes. Constantly offers, moon offers, mountains offer themselves, trees offer themselves, rivers offer themselves. They flow for others. Each and every element in the universe you see, because they are all governed by Bhagavan, governed by nature. There is a certain order there. Just imagine if the trees themselves grabbed all the fruits. Just imagine if the rivers did not give us water. No, you are polluting us, so I will not give you. No. They never flounder their duty. This is called offering. We just offer. It is expected of human beings also to join in this. To join. You also join. But why should I? I will do only if I am going to get something. Nothing doing. You do your duty whether you get something or you do not get something. Should personal agenda only be the motivation behind our action? Only if I am going to get something personally for my benefit, then only should I work. No. Even if I am not going to get anything, I do because it is going to be helpful in the universe. This is the principle on which the entire universe is working. And oh human beings, you better join. So far, you have been recipient of the favors done by the universe. You came in this universe. It was like a multi-starred hotel. Where we go to 5-star hotel, we go to 7-star, and there everything is ready for us. Tell me, when we entered this universe, everything was kept ready for us. Was it kept or not? There was water for us. There was mother's milk for us. Who did that? There was wind for us, air for us, water for us, space for us. We came in this ready multi-starred hotel. Why should Ishvara give all this to us? You are given. You are taken care of. We have received the benefits from our ancestors, from our parents, from our sages, from our teachers, from our doctors, from our scientists, from our technicians, from our government. Just imagine, had these people not done what they were supposed to do, for where would we be? Today we claim I am a self-made man. I became so big on my own. This can be, this can be deracinated in a minute. Who taught you to write? Who taught? Imagine the amount of toil and work parents did to bring you up. You did not know even how to hold a pencil. Ask your mother and father the amount of hard work they did to teach you to hold the pencil. The amounts of nights they remained sleepless so that you can sleep. And this child, for some time they keep awake at night, sometimes a day. Everything goes on. They never asked anything. What are you going to give us in future? Parents never asked. Ancestors never asked. Sages never said, what will you do? What will you give us back for this knowledge? They never questioned us. The whole universe in this way is constantly, I'm just seeing this. The more you are open to this, the more you see how much you are getting. Constantly everything is being given to us, that we are able to speak these words. I am talking to you about this Gita. Where did this knowledge come from? It is not the product of my mind. Teachers have given this. It is this ready material. I just got it and I am passing on to you. And supposing I forget all this and I say, no, nothing to, I have no time. I will not teach. What would this be? This would be stark narrow-mindedness. I want to capitalize. No. Lord Krishna teaches the principle of offering. When you offer, then you grow. So far my happiness came from fulfilling myself, fulfilling my near and dear ones. Now realize that you are a member of the entire universe. It is your responsibility to offer in your capacity. Do whatever you need not do big things. Whatever little you do it in the spirit of offering. Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is the attitude which goes behind each and every action. Each and every action becomes an instrument to offer myself. I may be doing simple things like cooking, but I do in the attitude of, may Ishvara be pleased by this. Ishvara in the form of my family. Ishvara in the form of my guest. Because everything is Ishvara. There is nothing but Ishvara in this creation. I see that Ishvara everywhere. May Ishvara be pleased. And with the honest and sincere effort, I do that. Then that small thing becomes sacrifice. That small thing becomes puja. We do puja in our small puja room. Then Lord Krishna is teaching, do that, fine. But then enter the vast puja room. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, do that. Offer yourself at the altar of this universe. What will I get? Don't keep on asking what will you get. You have got enough. Now you give. Now it is your time to give. Don't always consume. Contribute. You have been consuming. Now it is the time to give. So far we have taken care of you. Now you also do your part. It is in this manner that the universe is running. Do you think that you can get this knowledge of Brahman, of the self, of that dimension by remaining a small person? By confining yourself to your own life? I and my wife and my children? This is not going to work. Stretch yourself. And for that, begin with your life. Wherever you are, practice this attitude. Practice this. Lack of this, we can trace all the ills of our society, of the modern living, everything to the lack of this attitude. See, global warming. Everybody is selfish. Each and every nation, everybody is selfish. If we want to prosper, no matter at what cost, let whatever happens, we will do. Deforestation and this and that, all kinds of layers, ozone layers and the ozone holes, everything is bound to happen. It is nothing but lack of this offering. You realize without this knowledge, what will life be? In India, I hear this is a very broad-minded society. But in India also, where this teaching is, it is very unfortunate. Where this teaching is, there is this lack of this knowledge. Some people are so narrow-minded that when they come, they badly want a male child, and moment they come to know, by all kinds of tests, they come to know that this is a girl child, and the female, what do they say? They get it killed, abortion. A situation has come where the ratio of women in certain castes is so low that they are struggling to find the partners. It is too bad a situation in certain places. What is all this? I'm just trying to point out. When this knowledge is not there, when this broad-mindedness is not there, what happens? Our own mind becomes an enemy. Lord Krishna says, Arjuna is asking at one point that who is the enemy in trying to acquire this knowledge? Please tell me. And then he had that kind of mind, I'll face it. I'll vanquish that. Lord Krishna says, Kama esha krodha esha rajo guna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidyena miha vairinam. He says, it is the desire. It is the anger born of this strong desire which is residing in your heart is your enemy. Don't look for the enemy outside. It is right here. And these are the things which is blocking this knowledge. The desire, then anger and passion and lust and violence and greed and whatnot, aggressiveness. All these things are today, considered to be great things. You have to be aggressive. What is? This goes against this knowledge. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Trivitam Narakasyedam Dwaram Nashanam Atmanah. Lord Krishna says these are the three. This is the Kamaha, means passion, Krodha, anger, and greed. This is the threefold gate to hell. Tasmadetat trayam tyajed. May you give up this. This will never let you know the divinity which is yourself. And this is what we see in the world today. This is what we see. Lots of wars and violence and greed. No matter what you have, people want more and more and more and more. There are some nations so prosperous, my God, filthy rich as they call it. And there are some underdeveloped. There are children who are deprived without education. There is no food, no shelter, no clothing, no literacy. Just imagine their plight. Ishvara has given enough. He gave everything for all his children. But I want to grab it. Because I'm powerful, I grab. There are enough natural resources, but just because they are in my place, it is mine. And I will not give to others. Only at a certain price. We want to grab, we want to consume. It doesn't belong to you. You did not create this oil. You did not create this thing. How can you call it yours? Distribute, share. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. No, but this my heart will not allow. Why? Because I am insecure. I want more. There is no end to my greed. Where can this knowledge? Atma is sitting right here. He says nothing doing. I am not going to manifest myself. It cannot manifest. Far from it. Lives and lives will go. Atma sitting right here will just, it won't say anything. You go on searching. Someday, hopefully, you will come to know. Lord Krishna says, Ma phaleshu kada, there is lot of stress today, lot of demands, lot of complaints, lot of worries. Why? Because we are not ready to put up with what we get. We want to control everything. We want to get, I did this, so I must get that. Arey, who are you to say this that you will get it? You do your best. Leave the result to the Ishvara. He is karma phaladata, not you. Your domain is action. Karmani te adhikara. You have right in action. You should do your duty in the best possible manner, with the right attitude, with all sincerity, even if you are not interested. Do what you have to do and not what you like. What you do, what you have to do, do. Not what you like. Sometimes what we like and what we have to do are antagonistic. No. Don't subdue. Don't give in to your like. Do what is right, even if it is difficult. Even if it is difficult, do it. And then you are touching Ishvara. Accept what Ishvara gives as your prasada, as prasada. When prasada comes to us, we accept it gracefully. When something comes from the feet of Ishvara, we are gratified. We feel, we are so lucky to have it. Similarly, when situations occur before us, which we did not dream of, which we did not think will happen, has happened. Oh, I cannot control it. Okay, fine. This also can happen. This can also happen. Accept it. If you did not like it, next time work in a different way. But don't stop there. Ma phaleshu kadachana. In this manner, Lord Krishna is showing the way to live. He says there is divine in your heart also, and demonic also is there in your heart. Just as outside there is Kaurava and Pandava, right in your heart there is a struggle between good also and there is bad also. Who should win? Most of the time, if we are not careful, if we do not have strength, then the demoniac in us takes over us. Falsehood, violence, greed, passion, jealousy, lust, all kinds of things, moha, they rule the roost. Because these things are very, very weak. Lord Krishna says no. Don't allow that to happen. Always work for this, even if it is difficult. The path of the right is not easy by any chance. It is difficult. Yattadagre vishamiva pariname amrutopama. That which is the path of the right, the path of the truth, the path of ahimsa, the path of love is difficult in the beginning. But it is always good in the end. Choose that. There is always a choice. Should I choose this, Shreyaha or Preya? Should I go for, supposing, when we are passing from the custom, when you are flying and you pass from the custom, then they ask you, what have you brought? What have you got to declare? Then if we declare that, no, I have a laptop with me, then I will have to pay they ask, some duty, you have to pay. I am not ready to pay. So what do I say? No, I have not got anything. I have not bought anything. I have nothing to declare. And with this color, they will believe also. They'll pay, sannyasi, Swamini, right, what will she do with a laptop? Let her go. So, I gave in to my greed, To save that money, I said, I don't have. But do you think it is going to leave me? The war, the falsehood won outside. I went away, scot-free. But it is right here, constantly talking. Swamini, what you have done is not right. What you did is not right. You did not live up to your cloth. My conscience constantly will speak and trouble me. What have I gained? Tell me. Did I gain or did I lose? My sleep is lost. I cannot eat also that night. Why? Because it is constantly troubling me. A conflict is created. A split is there. This is what is happening in the world, People are all broken apart. There are so many splits in the heart. There are dysfunctional families. There are so many problems. In trying to get, people cut corners. People cut corners. You know what it means? You take the wrong path. You think you have gained, but you have not. And if that spirit is there, as we just talked about, offering, giving, reaching out, extending, offering yourself, and when you see the smile on others because of the little that you did, you don't have to work for happiness. It just comes. Understand, you cannot manipulate happiness. It has to come. And if it doesn't come, no matter what you have, with all your comforts, this country is very comfortable. With all your comforts, perhaps it doesn't come. First time when Swamiji came to US, then he stayed here for some time. And then when he came back to India, the students all gathered before him. They surrounded him and they asked him, Swamiji, what is the big difference between USA and India? Tell us what is the difference, marked difference. He said, nothing much. Roads are same, trees are same. And here people are uncomfortably unhappy. They have nothing. Poor India has nothing. There they are uncomfortably, there is no AC and nothing. They are uncomfortably unhappy. Uncomfortably unhappy. And here in USA, I saw Swamiji saying that people are comfortably unhappy. Unhappy they are with comforts, and there unhappy they are without comforts. But unhappy both are. What I'm trying to say is that don't equate happiness with comfort. Don't equate happiness with money or position. They are no doubt useful. I'm not denying that. But don't think it can give happiness to the Atma. Atma doesn't need those things to be happy. If things are wrong here, if you do not know this, in spite of what you have, you may be the president, but still you can be nowhere. For that to know, so first of all, we are running out of time, but first of all, Prakashji, just 5 minutes. You need to know what is the truth. First, your perception has to be right. Atma is full, one without a second, formless, all-pervasive, not an agent, not subject to anything. If you know this, you have the right perception. Then live a life of karma yoga, of offering, of devotion, so that your mind is pure. Your mind is subtle. Your mind becomes divine. And then, take it from me, you don't require anything to become happy. Happiness will just manifest. The stream of happiness will just flow from you. A Mahatma may not have anything with him. He may be sitting under a sky with a few clothes, very few, just a kamandalu. And still he is the master of happiness. Where did that happiness come from? He does right himself. It is right here. When you do all this, when you go out, offer yourself, when you live a life of karma yoga, automatically mind will become mature, will become pure, and that is the biggest siddhi. Siddhi is not that I have you don't require millions to be successful. You require to just be a nice person, be a noble man. Gandhiji did not have anything with him. He even gave away, he used to earlier wear 2 clothes, upper cloth also he was wearing. But when he went for a talk and he was going to talk, that time he's about to start, that time he saw a lady, an old lady without any clothes to cover herself. He removed that and covered her. After that, he was even without that upper cloth, he used to wear the simple dhoti. But do you think there was any kind of stress or unhappiness or discontentment? No. He had all the happiness to himself. What I am trying to say is that happiness is right here. You require to manifest it, and that you can do when you have the right living. Live in the right way, and that we discussed at length. What is right living? How to live? And for this, in one lecture, I cannot do much than this. We have already, the time is up. But as far as possible, give yourself. Do what is to be done. Each and every situation is an opportunity for reaching out, for doing the best. Your attitude should be right. May others be happy by my action. Let others elevate in my presence. Always think, how can I be helpful to others? Not how can I use others, how can I exploit others, but how can I be useful? Small things. You need not do big things. Some good words, some smile, something, whatever you can. See, happiness is not far. You're opening the doors of Atma. It is only that is required. All this is given to Arjuna. And then in the end, Arjuna, Bhagavan is asking, Kachitetat Shrutam Partha Tvayekagrena Chetasa. Did you hear properly with attention? If you have not heard, I will repeat everything. At the end of the 18th chapter, he is ready. He is not tired. Just both of them have forgotten where they are. Everybody is watching what is going on. But Bhagavan is saying, if you have not heard properly and if you have not understood properly, tell me. I will repeat. Arjuna said, no. Nashto mohaha smrutir labdha. All my delusion is gone. Karishye vachanam tava. I'm ready to do as you say, which means I will fight. Remember what happened in the beginning? He gave up his Gandiva. He gave up his weapons and he was grieving and crying. We have never seen that Arjuna. And the same Arjuna, after the teaching, is in control of himself. He understood, I have to fight not for personal agenda. I am no more interested in kingdom. I don't want to become king. But I have to fight to protect Dharma. It is my duty. I have been given this talent. I have been given this strength. And this strength is today required. It is the need of the hour. And I have to protect it. At that time, I cannot go back just because I am not interested. I have to do what the situation calls for. I don't require anything for myself. Take it. He understood. And he says, I will do as you say. And I know the Atma also. Then Vedavyasji writes in that, when these two are there, Yatra Yogeshwaraha Krishnaha, Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha. Sanjaya says through the Vedavyasji says through the words of Sanjaya. Sanjaya is the reporter. He reports all this to us. He says, where there is Yogeshwara Krishna. Yogeshwara Krishna means Ishvara's grace. To do this, to lead this life, understand we require Ishvara's grace. We require prayers. It is not easy to lead this life. It is not easy to lead this life of values. At every moment there will be problems. There will be conflicts. You require strength. Where is this strength going to come from? You may give in. No. You require Ishvara's grace. You have to tap that grace. But when will that grace come? No, he is not helping me. But what are you doing on your part? Partho yatra partho dhanurdaraha. Dhanurdaraha Partha means the Partha is Arjuna. Arjuna who is now wielding the bow, which means is ready to act. Not going back, but is ready to face life. Not for himself, but let me help the society. Let me fulfill my birth. Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha. He is all ready to do Purushartha. When you are ready, you are committed to this life, then Krishna is always there. Yatra, then Krishna is with you. And we see Lord Krishna was always there with Pandavas. Always there. In fact, it is he who made the difference. Sanjaya says, Yatra Yogeshwaraha Krishnaha, Yatra Partho Dhanurda. When these two are there, then Tatra Nitihi. Dhruvam, there is everything, Shrihi, Niti, everything. In short, there is success. When these two come together, there is total success. So this is what we need in life. Our commitment to do our best, to tread the right path, to get this knowledge, and along with that, Paramatma's prayers,